Good afternoon. I am so pleased to be here and very timely for me because I'm going to be asking some advice today as well with the gorgeous Dr. Staci, who I was always saying is always such a picture of vitality. How are you doing, Dr. Staci, today?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you, Catherine. How are you?
I'm feeling on top of the world, but today I've had quite a really bad headache, verging on a migraine. So I am modeling a few of the patches as we speak. And I must say they're making a big difference. So because every so often I get this, it's normally when I've overworked and haven't had enough sleep, naughty me. But then, yeah, it's lovely to have these tools in your toolkit so we can talk through that as well. And today, everyone, thank you. I can see we've already got quite a few of you joining. We are going to be covering a bit of information about the Lifewave patches because I've had loads of questions come in from viewers, which is really wonderful. And obviously, I'm still really learning as well. And also, we'll be asking questions from the chat. But before we get into some of the detailed questions, thank you. I've seen Big T. I've seen your question in there, so that's definitely on the list. And don't be shy about asking any questions today, everyone, please. That's what we're here for. One, I've had quite a lot of people sort of message me just with one of the real basic questions, Dr. Staci, saying, how can a patch on your body possibly be causing all these things? Now, I've been using light therapy, photonic light therapy for years. So I'm very convinced I know how it works. But for those of those listeners where it really sounds a little bit too good to be true, can you just talk us through some of the basics to get us going?
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned, light therapy, I always reference my sauna that I sit in, infrared, not far infrared, near infrared lights. And so I don't actually see or feel anything going into my body, but I know if I push different programs, that different wavelengths of light are going to penetrate through my skin and impact my body at the cellular level. And so this technology works in a similar way to that. That is called photobiomodulation. And so, or phototherapy. So this patch is non-transdermal, meaning nothing is in it, nothing is going inside of your body, but it works with your body's heat or light that we emit. And so there's no outside light source needed. We are the light source. We are trillions and trillions of cells of light. We know that. And so when you apply this patch to your skin, your body's heat or light that you emit reflects back a very specific wavelength of light back into the body. And that wavelength of light is going to depend on what's the inside of this white part here. If you see this white part, Catherine, I know I can't. Are you wearing Icewave?
No, I haven't got the Icewave. So this one's glutathione, actually. Yeah.
Oh, aeon. Okay, yeah. So you see that white part?
Yeah.
Embedded in that white part is a crystal lattice structure, and not a crystal like we have in our homes, like an amethyst or rose quartz crystal, but actually what David Schmidt has invented, the technology that he's invented is a proprietary solution of organic amino acids, sugars, oxygen, water. They form together in a crystal lattice structure. Okay, so the lattice structure that's inside of this patch in this white part, okay?
Yeah.
That when you apply that to your body's light reflects back a signal, a very specific wavelength of light. That is going to signal a specific peptide depending on which patch you have on. So it's photobiomodulation, and we are the light source instead of having an outside light source.
I absolutely love that because, you know, what my whole approach to everything is it's interesting. I was just showing everyone, Pumpkin's just joined us again. He's been joining us for my chats recently. So if everything crashes off, it's Pumpkin. But I love it because really utilizing our body's amazing ability to heal themselves. One, it's very safe because we're not introducing anything that could possibly have any contraindications in there. And secondly, you know, I think a lot of us are quite rightly quite nervous about what is and isn't in certain things. So sorry, I'm just having to move my glass of water, otherwise it's going to go crashing. So I think for me, this is the beauty, is it's using what nature and, you know, whatever you believe in, God or sources provide us with, but has gone quite often gone off track a bit because of the modern stresses that we're put under and age and things. So now we need to read, before we go into some of the specific questions, we need to say a little medical disclaimer. Have you got one that you can read, or would you want me to do that?
You can go ahead. I have one I say off the top of my head, but go for it. You have one?
Well, my medical disclaimer is very simple. We are not claiming to cure, treat any specific medical condition. If you've got any medical condition, or your animals have, because we've got some lovely animal questions here, please consult your healthcare professional. What we are looking to do is utilize natural tools and techniques to bring the body back into balance in a very safe and non-invasive way. If there's anything to add to that, feel free. So let's get into the first question, because this lady has emailed me. Do women from Big T, hi Big T, thanks for your question. Do women in their 60s, 70s or 80s, for example, get their periods back?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. You know, that was asked last month when David was here in Sarasota doing an event. And we have women that have went through menopause, and sometimes they have started their periods back, not in their 70s or 80s. It's more in their 50s, women that have went through the change a little earlier, and they've started their period again, kind of flushing things out of their system. Not that they're going to have that forever, of course, but we have seen women that have restarted. Not very many, honestly. It's not a common thing that happens, but sometimes they do. And I want to say this, when you're getting your body in balance, that means that all different types of things are going to shift and sift and sort out, right? And we know a lot of times, especially with females, we have a lot of female issues where things aren't right in our cycle. And we have a lot of complications from that. And so when you start repairing the systems in the body, obviously the reproductive system being one of them, then sometimes you do see things start to sift and sort out. And you see that flushing out of excess old debris, basically, that's left in there. But we don't see that people have that for a long term. It's more of just like kind of cleansing out, if you would say. But you're not going to be in your 80s and start your period again.
I think that makes perfect sense, because, you know, we know that the menstrual cycle is one of the ways that the body also gets rid of toxins. And a lot of the natural doctors and naturopaths believe that that's one of the contributing factors that make women live longer, is the fact that we have that extra detoxification pathway that men don't. There had to be some advantages to those monthly periods in those years. So, you know, this is the thing, is I like to personally look, and I'd love your input on this, Dr. Staci, that for me, I see detoxing as just a very natural part of the healing process of bringing your body back into balance, because our bodies and those of our animals are always looking to get back to homeostasis, to get back to balance. And sometimes some of these things are a great way to cleanse out what the body needs to get rid of.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with that. And I think a lot of times people are scared of detoxes. They're scared of something that's going to put them on the toilet or maybe make them feel uncomfortable. And we have to look at our body really almost kind of like a car. You change your oil every 3,000-ish miles. If you didn't, it would lock up and never work again. And that's what's happening to the body when people do not cleanse. Then the body starts to lock up and it doesn't want to function correctly anymore. And we see those, obviously, complications start to compound.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. I'm going to go through all the questions in order and then go through my sort of list here. So this is a little bit of a different one from Maria. Do we believe in the solar flash or great events lots of mediums are talking about from March 22? Will it bring an instant upgrade for us light workers, or will it be in little steps? So a bit of a different one there. Have you got any comments on that, Dr. Staci? I know I have.
You go first. Go for it.
Maria, lovely question. And I think, you know, we are in a time when people are really realizing that there's so many factors that affect our health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. And, you know, when anyone who's been studying the Schumann resonance, the solar flares, etc., know that this is a regular cycle that's going on. And there has been a lot of increased activity recently. Certainly, I think those of us who've got animals can see it happening. Those of us that are quite sensitive or in tune with our bodies often feel these things. I personally think it's really important people make their own minds up about what this has happened, because I think we know internally the answer for ourselves much better than anyone else, however good the medium is or the person that's talking about it. So everyone's got different belief systems about this, and I'm a very strong believer that, you know, your beliefs create your reality. So from my point of view, I'm certainly welcoming these energetic upgrades that are around at the moment. I'm not concerned about any of them, but I'm certainly not expecting on a personal level any miracle cure to come from the skies above.
I'm going to second that 100%. Absolutely. We do create our reality. And if you want a baby step upgrade, then set your intentions for that. And if you want a huge, massive download, then set your intentions for that. But get your body physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in alignment for that.
I love it. And just, yeah, really great question, Maria. Thank you. And I think, you know, that's a very important point you said, Dr. Staci, and that fits absolutely perfectly with my approach. My approach is very much, which is why I share so much health related questions. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining us and asking. Is because I believe that we can absolutely prepare and get ourselves into the best possible state. So just like the car analogy again, if you're going on a 6-month road trip, you'd probably change the tires, you'd probably get your car serviced, you'd make sure everything was okay. And that's what I do to our body, as I believe in myself, and for anyone that, you know, I've got any influence over, like my family 2- and 4-legged, that my responsibility is to keep myself in the best physical, emotional, spiritual health as possible, which means then I've got that inbuilt resilience to take anything good or bad that's thrown at me, to make the most of anything good that comes, but also to ward off anything that might be a little bit more negative or causing stress. So, Lauren, Life Designs, does it matter where on your body you wear it, and how long do you wear them for? Great question.
That is a fantastic question. So each patch has its own 12-hour window. You have patches that you use during the day only, which would be the X39, the X49, and the Energy Enhancer. These are daytime only patches. There are patches that you only wear at night, Silent Nights, which is for sleeping, and then Aloe Vita are nighttime only. The other patches can be day or night, but they each have their own 12-hour window. So if you wear some patches during the day, you can take those off after 12 hours, throw them away, and put on different patches at night. And as far as location, each patch comes with its own instruction booklet. And so the instruction booklet will give you locations that they have used to do our clinical studies. So remember, Lifewave is a 20-year-old company. This is not brand new. The stem cell activation patch that I was talking about earlier, this patch here is only 4 years old. We have 20 years of clinical studies and research with doctors and labs, physicians all over the globe. And so we have used traditional Chinese medicine, which is 6,000-year-old medicine, to use in our clinical studies. So when you look at the patches, this is SP6, for example, it shows you 3 places to pick. These are options. When you look at Energy Enhancer, there are different acupuncture points that are given as suggestions as well. Again, clinical studies, you need a controlled environment, the people doing the same thing day in, day out, correct? But we know that these specific locations are impacting, obviously, their acupuncture points, impacting meridians, impacting systems and organs in the body. But we also know that we are light. And so we are light, we emit heat and light throughout our entire body. So with your stem cell activation patch, for example, the clinical studies were done CV7 on the back of the neck or below the belly button. There are a lot of nerves that come in right here, and we know this is our triple warmer spot down here below the belly button. But any spot will do. You can put this patch on the top of your foot. You can put it right here in the center of your chest, on your hand, wherever you want, because we are heat, light everywhere, right? Right here on the side of your temple, absolutely. And it's going to work systemically. So when you look at the clinical studies, when we look at these different patches, these studies showed very specific points to impact those organs or systems that were in the studies when we were studying the people. But you can apply them anywhere. That's a great question. But again, 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
And I'm quite new to the patches. I've only been using them for a month, and I'm hooked already. I absolutely love them. And again, my daughter's been using them whilst recovering from a very serious knee operation, and she's a football player, or soccer, as you guys say. Pumpkin, please don't knock my thing off. And lovely tail, look, wouldn't you love
Yeah.
on the tail? Yeah, it's very good to experiment with your body as well, because you get a choice of positions for the patches as well. And this is one of the beauties of actually really getting in tune when you're using these natural remedies, is to really get in tune and just see what's sort of resonating with you, because certain people might have more effect on one place. So that's what I love, is they're going to work wherever you put them, Lauren, but you can then use them more specifically over the points in the booklet. And also you can then see where your own personal preferences, etc. So I'm going to, since Pumpkin's obviously here for a reason, we've got a few cat questions. Now, I've got a question that came in from Terry that's sharing, and I know Colette's on here. Hi, Colette. And Colette, like me, is a brilliant cat lover. Terry says, I'm sharing my patches between myself and my 2 cats. Any guidance how to effectively use them? Both cats are 14 to 15 years old, have kidney failure and allergies. One also has hypothyroidism. So we know we're not sort of saying we're going to cure any particular conditions. So how long can the cats wear the patch, and how secure does the patch have to be to work on? I try to use the patches when the kitties are having their nap time, because they're more willing to use them on. Now, I would just add to that, because I was, we were discussing about how when I've used the patch, I could then put it on one of my pets. But what I find, Dr. Staci, is once I've peeled it off me, there isn't much adhesive left. So I will then add to Terry's question by saying, could you use an extra bit of tape or something to secure it if needed?
Yes. So when you wear the patch, you take the patch off and you put it on your pet. You can leave it on for 12 hours. It's fine. Whatever amount they're going to get, they will get. Remember, after about that 12 to 14 hour mark, that lattice structure starts to dissipate. It's not communicating with our body anymore, right? It's worked really hard for 12 hours at almost 100 degrees, right? We're 100 degrees. And so, and when you take that off, there is some left. And that's why we put it on the pet. So there's no set amount of hours for your pet. Typically, we do that at night. They wear it through the night, maybe part of the next day, and you take it off of them. As far as locations, some pets their pets will allow them to put it right on the skin. Others, they actually can put it on the fur and they don't bother it. A lot of times they'll put it on the underneath side of the collar. So if you took it off and this was the collar, I would put it on the underneath side of the collar, and it's just working perfectly fine, stuck to the inside of the collar. Remember, our body's heat or light that we emit goes out about 2 to 4 inches. And so whether it's the fur or the hair, whatever, the StreamYard's backwards. So I'm like, where is the center of my chest?
Yeah, I know the StreamYard screen. Anyone that's watching, I will say this package that we use to live stream on StreamYard is the most unflattering video ever. So, and everything back to front and everything. So
I'm like going like this, and it's not my right side.
Exactly. It's weirdest setup, but hey ho, never mind.
Yeah. So anyway. So with your pet, it's okay if it's just on top of their fur. If it doesn't stick, yes, you can use tape. A lot of times we'll maybe put a little baby dollop of, like for example, with horses, they'll use a dollop of super glue, a little tiny bit of super glue so it sticks, or you can use a little bit of tape and, if you need to cut it off, or if they're okay with you pulling it off, that's fine. However you get it to be on their body, whether it's in their bed, on their collar, or on their fur or skin, as long as it's within that 2 to 4 inches of their body, it's working.
Yeah. Okay. That's really great. So I really encourage people, obviously everyone knows that I'm probably more passionate about animals than humans. So please do, these things. I was watching today, Dr. Staci, some of the videos of the experiments they've done with horses, and it really is quite amazing. Are there particular patches that we should use for pets, or can we use any of the ones that we're using for ourselves?
You can use any of the patches. Typically, people stick with X39.
Yes.
Aeon, because a lot of our pets have inflammation.
Yeah.
Glutathione, especially like with horses, they get all types of viruses. People use the AccuLife, which is identical to our IceWave. IceWave is the patch that removes pain on the spot. AccuLife is the exact same thing. It's just you can't have something licensed for pets that you do for humans.
Yeah.
So we use AccuLife for pain, but you can use, I heard you mention hypothyroidism. You can use the SP6 if you're using it on yourself. Take it off, put it on your pet. There's nothing that can hurt them, just like there's nothing that can hurt us.
Absolutely.
Remember, this is about balance. This is about homeostasis. So it's not going to it's not putting anything in the body, right? So it's not going to do too much to hurt somebody or an animal, even if they're on medications, just like humans are, right? They're, like you said earlier, no contraindications. So just know that we have these peptides in our body. We have these pathways, things are signaling, and they're just not functioning correctly for some reason. The body has gotten out of balance, whether it's a pet or it is, a human.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
More human than humans.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lovely question from Dawn. I've been using the patches for months so far. What patches are for skin?
Yes. So definitely the X39. We know this does amazing things for the skin. We know that it by right around month 3, we can really start to see the improvement in collagen, which is obviously the glue that holds everything together inside of our body, but directly impacts our skin. We know collagen declines as we age. Aeon is really important for the skin. This reduces inflammation. And when you look at inflammation in the body, you can see how that ages people. Inflammation contributes to the texture of the skin and the look of the skin, the glow or not of the skin. And the other thing would be aloe vera. Aloe vera is actually a patch that was created to improve the quality of the skin. Lines, wrinkles, dark spots, scars, moles, things like that. But we know it has far more benefits. It does signal a peptide in the pineal gland. And so that epithalamin peptide is responsible for reducing oxidative stress, inflammatory stress in the body, and of course, lengthening our telomeres, which is fantastic when you look at the length of our life. But again, reducing the inflammation and the inflammatory and oxidative stress on the inside of the body is a representation of what the skin looks like on the outside of the body. So those would definitely be patches we would use for the skin.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that, our skin is a very good indicator of our overall health. And this is very, very true for our animals as well. So please, if your animal's got skin issues, start really looking into what the root cause of that is. Now, I've got a couple of questions here, which are quite important ones. So one from Nadia. So Nadia emailed me in and said, is there anything that you can recommend for tooth issues? I've always had tooth sensitivity, but it's worse after 2 back-to-back pregnancies. She's still breastfeeding.
Okay, so you would definitely use the X39. We've seen fantastic results with the teeth, with the gums, and all different types of oral things going on, right? Infections and things like that. So I would definitely start with X39. I would also look at the aeon. Inflammation in the body is, we know, a root cause of the disease physically. And so I would definitely look at that for your teeth as well too. And then as far as looking at why do you have sensitivity? What is it? Because I don't have sensitivity. I don't know if you do or not, Catherine, but what is going on inside of the body? Something's not functioning correctly. So is there a little issue with your immune system? Obviously being pregnant back to back, you've been robbed of your nutrients, which and rightfully so, to help nourish that baby. Even though, you're supplementing, it still takes so much out of you, especially to have them back to back. So I would also look at glutathione and see maybe there's some immune system, maybe just a little bit of compromise there, and that can help you as well too.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously, back-to-back pregnancies, amazing job. That you're doing that, Nadia, and it does take a lot out of your body. So giving yourself this extra support is wonderful and completely safe to use whilst you're breastfeeding, which is another thing I love about it. Thank you so much, Dawn, for that super sticker. We really appreciate it. So we've got a good question here from Lauren again. How long generally before people notice a difference? She's thinking of trying the aeon for inflammation and X39 for aging.
So I'm going to share with you clinical studies based on clinical studies. And not that everybody falls in that category, right? But we start to see improvements in the first 3 to 6 weeks. We see improvements in pain, pain reduction, of course, sleep, a deeper REM sleep, more mental energy, clarity, concentration, focus, more physical energy, faster recovery from daily activities, fitness, and faster wound healing. That's with the X39 within the first 3 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months for people. There's 80% that notice differences in 3 to 6 weeks. Some people, it takes 3 to 6 months. But we can start to see, based on the clinical studies, again, the digestive system, the nervous system, the immune system really start to have pretty good impacts after that, around that 8-week mark as well, too. And then we see huge improvements in the cardiovascular system. Things start to change there. So I would say, that first 90 days for the majority of people, you're going to notice some differences. Now, I'll be honest, I've been utilizing this technology in my practice for 2 years, and I've listened to thousands of people share their experience. Sometimes they have results instantaneously. Sometimes they feel things the same day. They put the patch on and they're like, I can feel this, something is different, or they have pain reduction, or they sleep better than they ever have. It's about a 50-50 shot. I don't know how, why. We don't have any rhyme or reason who gets to experience things before and who doesn't. Your body has its own innate ability to know how to heal itself. We cannot direct where our stem cells are going. When this patch activates and mobilizes your stem cells, you can't pick where they go. And of course, that peptide that's elevated is GHKCU copper peptide. That in of itself is a miracle peptide if you do any research on GHKCU. But when you have the increase of those things in your body, you start to feel things. And sometimes people do feel things sooner. Why we use the X39 and aeon combination together is to speed up those results. X39 on its own, like I said, I can't pick where your stem cells are going. Your body knows what it needs to do first. When you reduce that inflammation at the same time that you are elevating your own stem cell production, then the body is set up for a more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. So we start to see things happen faster when you bring down the inflammation, when you put the body in that parasympathetic state. So your body's either in fight or flight mode, like go, 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 stressed, right? You can't heal in that state. You're stressed out. And so aeon helps bring you into that calm, rest, relax, digest state where the body can repair itself. And so we do see things faster. So I always tell people this is based on your age, 1 month for every 10 years you are old to get up to full stem cell regeneration. So if you're in your 40s, 4 months, 50s, 5 months, 66 months, and on, you will experience things in the meantime, but there is a compound effect. The longer you use these patches, the more benefits and more results you can have, which we see this again from studies. We can see literally age reversal. When you look at the cellular age of the body, which we can determine the age of the heart, the organs, we can see that on test, right? And so we can see the reversal of the age. I interviewed Dr. Eric Sanders. He's a pharmacologist from Europe. I think he's from Holland. I can't remember now. But anyway, I interviewed him about 1.5 years ago, interviewed him again last month. And he had a heart attack when he was 45 years old. He was a pharmacologist, put on 5 prescription meds. Heart was functioning as a 75-year-old. Years go by, no change, nothing was improving. Heart still functioning as a 75-year-old. He gets introduced to nutritional supplements, decides to go off all medications, go holistic. Did that, heart still functioning as a 75-year-old. He's 64 years old. He finds out about Lifewave, the stem cell activation patch. He started patching. 1 year later, his heart is functioning as a 37-year-old.
Wow.
He is 65 years old, and his heart is functioning as if he's in his mid-30s.
I just love it. And I'm so pleased you brought that up as an example, because like you, I've been a holistic practitioner for a lot of years. And I am constantly blown away by when we give the body of whatever species of animal it might be, or human, the right resources, our ability to rebalance ourselves. But I also love the way, I think anyone who's watching this today, and thank you so much for your wonderful questions, anyone who's sort of into this sort of thing understands that we need to let the body heal at the pace that it needs to heal at, and make sure we're supporting it on that journey. And yes, we can do more to speed it up, put more builders on the job, extra patches will give that body even more support and get things happening quicker, plus other lifestyle things. We talk about hydration a lot. It's really important to keep ourselves hydrated. Cheers. It's really, really important for everyone to realize that when we're looking at these natural healing abilities, the body will heal in the time that it needs, and we're doing a lot to actually speed that up. And you can literally, there's so many studies now that show that we can biologically de-age ourselves, and we're all looking at living longer, healthier, and we know this is possible. So this is fantastic. And we've got a great question here from Janie about arthritis and joint pain.
Okay, so definitely your X39. Aeon, we know joint pain, a lot of times there's inflammation, of course. And then also glutathione. I mentioned glutathione for the immune system. It's the master antioxidant detox or immune booster. We know that. But glutathione, you see this gold color on the package? Glutathione is like liquid gold for your joints. Just picture liquid gold pouring down in through your body, and that is going to coat your joints. And so if you look at your joints or picture them in your mind like a dish sponge that's hard and like a brick sitting on the counter. You know what I'm talking about? Those dish sponges that your grandmother used to have. Yeah. And then she'd put them under the water and they poof up again and she'd wash the dishes with them. So that's your joints, that hard brick-like bone on bone type situation where things are rubbing and there's not a lot of give there. When you put glutathione into the body, that coats your joints and makes it like a sponge that is popped back up again. So that's fantastic for arthritis and joint pain. Of course, we have Icewave. Icewave can absolutely get rid of the pain on the spot. If you have a specific joint, a lot of times I'll see people with their fingers, their knuckles very swollen. You can put X39 on one knuckle, put Aeon on the other, put on a couple Icewave, all the swelling in those joints comes down. Right. And so depending on where your pain is, you can use Icewave. If it's everywhere, if you have joint pain everywhere, then I would just do the X39 Aeon and glutathione and know that that's going to work to reduce the inflammation, coat those joints, and get those stem cells in your body working to repair whatever needs to be repaired.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 Anthony saying body cells take between 6 months to renew depending on the age of the individual. And it does depend also, Anthony, on the type of cells. So, for example, our gut cells repair every day, regenerating every day. So different areas of the body have different things. And what we're using is these natural things to actually speed up and enhance that process. But very importantly, I think, Dr. Staci, to make sure that when we're replicating cells, that we're getting the cells healthy and then replicating them, because we could be replicating unhealthy cells. So these are why the things that Dr. Staci and I use are to get your cells in a healthy state and then replicate.
Correct. And we also see that as we age, our cells don't renew themselves like they did when we were younger. That's where you see the degeneration of the body. Those cells they're not doing what they did when they were younger. They're dying off. And so then your body's not able to repair and regenerate itself like it did when it was younger. By the time in your 30s, you only have half of your stem cells that are active in your body. The rest are dormant. By the time you're in your 60s, there's less than 10% that are mobile at all. And they're tired. They're wore out, right? And so this wakes up your stem cells, resets a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. And again, that compound effect, that time day after day, week after week, month after month, you see those genes, because they're expressing to other genes, you see a reset throughout your entire body as time goes on. And so we can look at those markers, right? We can look at the function of our organs and our cells and our systems and say, okay, this body's functioning in their 30s, but yet they're in their 60s. This is fantastic. So cellular integration.
And it's, you've only got to think, people, that, when you go to the gym, you don't go, if you go sporadically, you're not going to get the results. If you're consistent with what you do with your exercise plan or the food that you're eating and the lifestyle choices you're making, your healthy habits, you're going to get way better results. So just a couple more questions, because I'm keeping conscious of the time. Cook, wondering if the patches can be reused and how many would one person need per week, per month, wanting for my husband with MS?
That's a great question. The patches cannot be reused. These are non-transdermal. So transdermal patches actually are delivering a nutrient or a chemical or substance into the body. These patches are non-transdermal. Nothing is going into the body. And so they are designed to be worn for 12 hours. During that 12 hours, our 98.6 degree body is communicating with this patch. And that specific time frame is what is needed for the body based on our clinical studies to produce the biochemical results that are happening inside, those physiological changes. And so after the 12 hours, we take it off and throw it away. It is no longer, or we put it on our pet or in our pet bed, right? They may have a little bit of something for it, but again, not like we are, right? And so we don't reuse the patch because there's nothing left in it the next day as far as to communicate with. That lattice structure starts to dissipate.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would use a patch per day. So, and you can use as many patches as you want. We like to start slow. We don't want you to put on 12 patches today, right? So if you're going to use X39 and Aeon, then that's an easy starting point for every single person. You would put on X39 and Aeon in the morning when you got up. You would leave them on 12 hours, take them off, and throw them away. Everything comes in a month's supply, with the exception of our Ice Wave and our Energy Enhancer. These two patches are a 15-day supply because there are 30 patches in here. These work with the polarity of your body, so there's a white and a tan. But everything else is a 30-day supply. And as far as when you're looking at someone with neurological type issues and conditions, because again, we're not talking specifically about diseases or anything like that. When you look at the brain, you look at X39, Aeon, and X49 for sure, and maybe possibly even carnosine, depending on what the cognitive ability is. But you could definitely use those patches, X39, X49, Aeon. They have great impacts on the brain neurologically.
Now, with regard to buying options, in the link below is my email address. And I encourage, if you've got questions, please email, because if I can't answer them, Dr. Staci always can, because she knows more than me about them at this stage. So we are here to help to make sure you get the right products in the most cost-effective ways. There is a video link below, which tells you the ordering options that Dr. Staci made for us. So please, please do watch that video before you go and try and place your order, because we want anyone to actually make sure they get the right products in the most cost-effective way for themselves. So just a couple more questions. I want to go to a lady who emailed something in asking about, can any of the patches help with the social side of things with teenagers who are on the autistic spectrum?
Yes, they absolutely can. So of course, X39 works in your body physically, mentally, emotionally. We know that your brain, I did a deep dive in some clinical studies with Dr. Harmon this past weekend, and one of them was on the brain. We know that this patch directly impacts the brain in a very positive way, right? And as it does all systems and organs in the body. But I can't tell you if it's going to work on the brain immediately to help with the types of autistic or social types of anxiety. It might. Okay. I mean, the first two people I patched were my children. My daughter specifically for the brain issues that she had from a brain bleed. My son just to help clear out stuff, right? You know, I mean, we're all exposed to stuff. I want to give him a little extra boost in X39 and Aeon, but I've patched thousands of children, most all on spectrum, those types of things, right? And so X39 is your starting point. It may be you use a little bit of the Aeon, maybe you use Aeon. And the other thing I would look at is carnosine. Carnosine is a huge antioxidant, second to glutathione, but carnosine loves to hang out in the brain. It balances left brain, right brain sides, left brain and right brain of the brain, left side, right side brain. It improves cognition, it improves communication, as I'm not doing that real well right now, but it does love to repair the brain and eliminate toxic load in the brain. So carnosine is fantastic for children that are on the spectrum, that have issues with social. Aeon is great, like I said, for anxiety. So if they're dealing with some anxiety issues, but the carnosine is going to help to repair that brain, along with the X39, of course.
I love it. And just from personal experience, for some of my friends that have used the patches for those reasons, the other thing I find is that they're very well accepted. Putting something on topically can be a lot easier sometimes than getting teenagers or young children to take supplements. Right. You've been so generous with your time. I am loving this, Dr. Staci. Brilliant question.
You're so welcome.
Can they help with weight loss?
So we have a clinical study that shows that X39 and X49 actually have 11% body fat reduction in 60 days. So that's one of our most recent studies that David has done. So if you're looking at body fat, obviously we see losing body fat typically correlates with weight loss, but we also want to look at our inflammation in our body. So you would definitely want to make sure you're addressing the inflammatory process that's going on inside of the body to help with weight loss as well too. We do have what's called a tummy reduction protocol, and we use that very specific points on the stomach to form like a diamond with specific patches. And so that is something that people do find they do lose weight from that as well too. And I'm happy to share that with you if you want. We don't have clinical studies on it. We just have 15 years of people using it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want anything like that, my email address is below. Please do email me, and then I can get the information from Dr. Staci and forward that on. Now, Lee, I'll just really quickly, we do need something that cures the entire world. But let's not just, if we're all going to wait for things like this, then nothing's going to happen. So I'm a strong believer in doing what you can do and concentrating what you can do. And Lee, you might want to watch the Ho'oponopono and happiness video that I did a couple of days ago with the beautiful, beautiful Jackie White. So we all want to heal the world, but equally we've got to start with ourselves, in my opinion. If we are projecting out energy and taking that energy with us, and if that's as balanced and healthy as possible, then we're not, doing things. So I sympathize with that. However, thank you, Anthony, for your comment. So in terms of units, how much do they cost, etc., and how long do they last? I mean, that varies probably, the different patches are different costs, aren't they?
So the X39 and X49 are both $150 US retail. Okay. The supportive patches, no matter what supportive patch it is, they are $80 each retail. Okay. But of course, you can have Catherine's wholesale cost by clicking on her link and following the instructions. So you can actually get these patches, the X39 and X49, for $99 each. If you're purchasing what's called a silver wholesale pack, you can get 2 months, a month of each one of these, and you can actually get a couple months of the Aeon for $2.99. So you can mix and match. Or let's say you wanted to get X39, Aeon, glutathione, carnosine, Alavita. You could get all 5 of these, which is a month's supply of each, for $2.99. And so we go through that in the video that Catherine and I did. It shows you the options. You can purchase retail if you want to, no matter what, it's going to ship to you, but you can enjoy the benefits of having a wholesale pack and have it shipped to you as well too, being able to mix and match and be able to get that discount.
Yeah, and I've gone for the packs because I've got families with, members of the family with different specific needs. Yeah. So please, please, please do watch the video that's linked below. And after this has gone live, I'll be able to pin it in the comments as well, because Dr. Staci goes through all the different ordering options there and how to get the most cost effective. So just literally a couple more very quick questions. If you take NAC, do you still need glutathione, or is it the same?
It is not the same. So NAC is the precursor to glutathione. So our glutathione patch is not a supplement, right? It's not putting glutathione into your body. It's not an IV push or suppository, anything like that. So this patch, when you apply it to your body, it actually signals a peptide in your liver to elevate your own glutathione. So we know supplements are going to increase your glutathione about 20-23%. They have a 7-minute half-life. This glutathione patch, because it's signaling your body to elevate its own glutathione, it increases it over 300% and sustains it for a 24-hour period. So you take your patch off after 12 hours and your glutathione level is still elevated in your body. What does that mean for you? That means that your antioxidant, your own glutathione antioxidant ability is going to work to get rid of free radicals, toxic rogue cells, neutralizing those and eliminating those from your body. So glutathione is powerful. You can definitely take NAC and use the glutathione patch. That's up to you, absolutely. But you don't have to have it in order for the glutathione patch to work.
I love it. Mm-hmm. And my daughter Lois, who never watches any of my videos, but she is so blown away with the patches in the Asea. So she's an amazing football player, and she's so in tune with her body. And these patches have so helped her knee recovery, the water retention, and the taking the inflammation down and speeding up the recovery. And her physio has noticed a huge difference as well. Mm-hmm. So trust me, she's not easy to please. So this is fantastic information. I've really appreciated everyone joining us. Dr. Staci, you are absolutely amazing. I'm really hoping I can persuade you to come back and do this again for us, because this education is absolutely key. This is the world we're moving into, where we're empowering ourselves to take back responsibility for our own health. And we are so lucky that people like Dr. Staci are giving up so much of her time completely free to do this. So I would encourage all of you to have a look through this information. If you've got questions, please do email me. The email address is always below. And if I don't know the answer, I know someone that does. So any final words, Dr. Staci, before we leave for today?
Well, thank you, Catherine. I always love being on here with you, and I'm happy to come back anytime. Anytime you would like me. I love interacting with through email and on phone, of course, and here in the chat. I love interacting with your community. You guys are an amazing bunch of light workers, lovely energy. And so I'm happy to help anytime. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So please do, when you're watching this on replay, people, thank you so much for everyone who's joined us today. Thank you, Andrea, for being in the chat and putting the relevant links and everything. Mm-hmm. When this goes live, I'll pin the comments about the ordering video, and then we will be back in a couple of weeks' time. So just continue to ask any questions and email those through to me. And then if you can't join the live, I can then bring them to the conversation. Thank you, Dr. Staci. Really, really grateful for all your work and for introducing me to these wonderful products so that we can help more people. Thanks then. Bye.
Bye.